Hello, I'm John Rawl. This is the Yall Show. We're continuing our discussion with the Barrister of Bodacious Barbecue now. Matt Heermans is back with us here to discuss all things grilling and more. And this is a big time, not just for sports in February. We are certainly ready to go outside full time and hang out and not have to deal with ice and snow and things like that. But Matt Heermans, I got to thinking, one thing that they tell you to stay away from talking about here on a show like Y'all, and maybe just in life, one thing we're not supposed to talk about is.
That's a long list, John. That is a
Oh, is
long
it?
list of things you're not supposed to talk about. Yeah, but we're not going to talk about them,
Yeah.
right? Because you're not supposed to. Anyway,
We're
I'll
not
let you
going to
go.
talk about them, but we ought to. And in fact, we will. So we're going to have a fun discussion here, talking about a taboo, and that taboo is politics. So Matt Heermans, using your best creativity, Bernie Sanders is on a roll, okay? And so if Bernie Sanders were some kind of barbecue dish, I mean, he's hot. He's on his way to the nomination of the Democratic Party. If Bernie Sanders were some kind of barbecue dish, what would he be?
Oof, boy, that's a pretty good analogy. I would say it's something rare. Okay, you don't see a whole lot of.
He's rare.
Yeah, he's rare. You don't see a whole lot of folks. He's kind of right out of the '60s, right? He's kind of the unreformed '60s style, left wing type guy. Which not a whole lot of those left. They've kind of turned into something different. But he's a throwback. So, I don't know. It's going to be something rare. I don't want to, based on his kind of background, I don't necessarily want to make him into anything pork. He might be offended by that. So I'm going to say something. Maybe like lamb belly,
I mean, is Vermont known for some kind of barbecue dish?
And I don't think so. But I'm thinking, kind of something out of the ordinary, something most people haven't heard of before. Something that people, some folks do appreciate. And way outside, way outside of left field. So yeah, something like lamb. Let's say lamb. Yeah, that'll be a mutton. Oh man, mutton. You know what? Let me change my answer. We've talked about Kentucky before. Old, tough. We talk about mutton is old sheep, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, we're talking about old, tough, past its prime. That's one way to look at it. Not that Bernie is past his prime. He's peaking late, but I think mutton. I'm going to go with mutton.
Mutton Bernie. Okay, that's a good one. That you see, I knew we would get the best out of you when we brought this subject up with our barbecue barrister. So Bernie Sanders, mutton. Let's talk about this weekend. South Carolina, they go to the polls as it's the Democratic primary in the Palmetto State, the first in the South. And Joe Biden is expected to maybe come roaring back and possibly win the Democratic primary. So using that same logic, barbecue barrister, Joe Biden, Delaware's own. What kind of, and it doesn't, we don't have to have just barbecue, any kind of dish. What would he be serving up if he were barbecue? What's the Joe Biden analogy?
Maybe like potato salad.
I mean, he's from Delaware. Is there anything Delaware's known for when it comes to cooking and grilling?
Oh man, the first state, right? Yeah, Delaware is interesting. I think it's basically known for people from like Philadelphia going to the beach, right? But,
Okay.
Yeah, no, I would say.
And he was born in Scranton, so maybe a good Philly cheesesteak. I mean, is that something you perfected on your grill?
I'm trying to think of something a little less exciting. So maybe like.
You don't think Joe's that exciting, huh?
Well, I don't know. I take that back. He can be unpredictable. That's true. So I don't know. Maybe a chopped beef sandwich. Kind of get what you expect. You kind of not gonna knock your socks off, but you've had 100 of them, and it's kind of like, yeah, all right, it's fine.
Well, I'm thinking of more of a good Yankee type sandwich since he is a Yankee. And this word is something that he needs to be.
A grinder? A
grinder. But I'm actually thinking of something he's got to do beyond this weekend. He's got to win South Carolina. And then, Matt Heermans, he's got to be a hero going forward to save the Democratic Party.
Yeah, I don't think, well, we're not taking bets on politics here, but I think South Carolina may be be his last stand. Just pick another northerner, right? And
Yeah.
say,
So Joe Biden, would you call it a grinder? That'd be a good one for him.
sure, we'll call it a grinder. He's been grinding for years, man. He's still grinding, and yeah, he's been grinding, as they say,
Yeah.
hustling for a long time.
Very good. Very good. See, this is kind of like on ESPN College Game Day whenever you're Lee Corso and I'm just kind of baiting you here and you bring this logic to it. So this is great. This is great. Next up on the Democratic side, and we're going to go to President Trump too, so don't be offended that we're not going to get you to weigh in on the president. Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts. If she were barbecue, what would you connect her to be?
Something that's done. Maybe overdone.
I mean, she does have American Indian ancestry, as you do as well. So maybe some kind of corn dish or something.
I was gonna say maybe like fry bread. I think that's a dish, some type of fry bread, and of course, I would say that jokingly, since she is certainly not Native American, but yeah, maybe something like maize. Maize.
Well, I mean, she's kind of a fake American Indian, so maybe something like candy corn, which isn't something I don't think American Indians used to go out and share, but it's something we think of them as having.
Yeah. I think that's probably good. We call her Elizabeth Candy Corn. Candy Cornucopia. We'll do. Yeah, that sounds good. I like that.
All right, now how about Indiana's own Pete Buttigieg?
Let's see.
I mean, you got to like him. His first name starts with B-U-T-T. And if you're a guy that likes pork, I mean, that's probably your favorite candidate right there.
Yeah. I'm gonna walk way around that one. I'm gonna go back to like let's see, Indiana Hoosiers. Indiana's interesting, right? Because like the southern tip of it, I think those folks would kind of lean more southernish, maybe.
But don't forget Owensboro, Kentucky, home of mutton, is right on the border with Indiana. So
let's go with Burgoo. I think southern Indiana. I think they jump into that Kentucky classic, Burgoo. Yeah. So kind of a mix of a lot of different things you don't expect, and maybe some surprises. Particularly for people in Iowa. You go to the polls, you punch your ticket for Mayor Pete, and then you get a surprise afterwards, and you want to get your ballot back. It's kind of like Burgoo. You dig your spoon in there, and you're like, "Whoa, what is this? What's in here? This is interesting." And then, that's a pretty good combo.
Excellent point, barbecue barrister Matt Heermans. Now let's talk about the big money, and that would be Mayor Mike Bloomberg. And I guess my initial thought would be, what dish out there is the most expensive thing when you get ready to grill? Because that's what Bloomberg would be.
Yeah.
But maybe you've got a better answer.
Well, again, I think, being respectful of of the candidates here, I'm going to avoid pork products on his behalf. So I'm going to say something like, it's got to be beef tenderloin, right? I mean, that's about as fancy.
Is it?
Beef tenderloin being just the entire piece of meat that filet mignon comes from. So, it's even flashier than a filet. So it's just a long loin of fillets. So, yeah, I would say, it's kind of a New York. You think of New York, kind of old New York, at least. Think of steakhouses and stuff like that. So, yeah, definitely filet. Straight up beef tenderloin. Big, flashy, rich. Yeah.
All right. So if I were to ask Mike Bloomberg out on a date, and let's say we picked a really good spot in New York City, I'm thinking, Trump Tower. That'd be a great place to take Mayor Bloomberg for a meal. You're suggesting the beef tips, huh?
Beef tenderloin, yeah.
Tenderloin, sorry.
Yeah. Not beef tips. That would
would be beneath him.
That's way below. Yeah, way below. I mean, I'm a fan of that, but not for Mr. Blue, not for a billionaire from New York. I mean, come on.
I mean, but he's had everything, so why not try a little bit something out of the ordinary, Mike?
Sure. Well, I don't think he'd beaten it. Maybe he might have been having lunch at Trump Tower a few years ago, but probably not today. Not today.
Hey, he's a billionaire. He can do whatever he wants. As long as he's spending his money in there, I don't think the president would mind. Speaking of the president, let's switch over to the Republican side. And this week, the president actually made his way to India. as he was a big speaker there. 125,000 people in the stands there at a cricket stadium, whatever cricket is. And President Trump went there to India this week for that rally there. So I'm thinking what's out there in a cooking, grilling world that may have an Indian flair to it that would be applicable to be an example of what President Trump would be in terms of barbecue and grilling?
Well, that is a challenge because most Indians are vegetarian. There's a particular
that's why they said President Trump was going to be miserable this week traveling to.
Oh yeah, because he's talk about a billionaire that does the everyman thing. I mean, we know the president enjoys McDonald's. We know he enjoys Kentucky Fried Chicken,
as we do as well.
Right, there's nothing wrong with that.
That's why he's got my vote. If he would just eat that fancy food alone, I couldn't relate to him. But since he pigs out on McDonald's and Wendy's, yeah, I can relate. He's every man's choice.
Yeah. Right. We both eat the same fast food. So, and of course we know that the president is certainly not a vegetarian. So it's an interesting combo. Now there are some Indian dishes. There's a chicken tikka masala. That's not a vegetarian dish. Although, you know what? If I'm betting, I'm thinking the president is maybe getting something kind of more to his liking at these little meals they do. But since we're on, what about Kentucky Fried Chicken masala? What about that? That's a perfect combo for what the president likes with a little Indian theme. You got your little curry sauce in there. Yeah, I'm gonna say, KFC masala, Kentucky Fried Chicken Tikka masala. That is as we call a mashup right there.
The Colonel needs to send you a royalty check right now. I mean, give KFC credit. They are doing some things out of the box these days. I just noticed the other day, at least at a KFC I went by, they've got Kentucky Fried Chicken strips. I guess it's just not your chicken tenders, but they're actually done with KFC's batter, and that's a new addition they got there. And they've done something else too, I think, in recent months.
They're getting on the sandwich wagon because you got Chick-fil-A and you've got Popeyes doing this whole deal. So yeah, now KFC's been on the sandwich wagon for sure. So I guess if you're making chicken, you gotta jump on the sandwich deal now, I guess.
Yeah. Well, President Trump, I think, knows, or at least his people know, that on a 24-hour trip to India, and they've got refrigerators on Air Force One, something tells me he had somebody run through a drive-through before they boarded the plane, and he's got a nice little stash of fast food, even in India this week.
He's got a neatly stacked collection of Big Macs, with the gold leaf, wrappers. Yeah, for sure.
All right. So purely based on what you just told us with these Democratic and President Trump options of food, we don't often ask for people to tell us what they're going to vote or how they're going to vote, Matt Heermans, but you had some great ideas. I mean, you really did. So I want you to publicly announce you're going to go into that polling booth right now and pull the lever, not necessarily for the candidate, but for the dish.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for the dish. Well, I don't see any Memphis-style spare ribs or pork butt out there as of this moment. So I'm gonna. But I do like a good burger. I'm just gonna say I do like a good burger.
But you didn't give that to any of these people, so I need
McDonald's.
You to.
No. Okay. Well, you're right. Let's say this. I like fried chicken. I'm a big fan of fried chicken. How about that?
So the candidate I think you were talking about with that would be the president?
Yeah. I'm gonna go with that. I'm gonna go with the. I have nothing against KFC. In fact, I like all fried chickens. I like Popeyes.
Let's be honest, Matt. It's kind of hard to mess up fried chicken. That's why it's often at most gas stations. I mean,
man,
are you going
I don't know.
to disagree with me?
Have you ever had it messed up? I've had it messed up.
Well,
if it's dry, you just don't want it dry. You know what I mean?
Okay. Well, I was mistaken. Well, we're glad that we pulled our lever for you, Matt Heermans, here on today's Y'all Show, and we appreciate you coming out and just sharing with us what we all want to know. You're kind of like our Puxatawny Phil of the political world. Instead of seeing your shadow, you're at least telling us which each candidate lines up from a grilling and barbecue standpoint.
You know what? And I'm probably just as accurate as the gopher also.
Have a great week. Great to talk to you, sir. And we look forward to catching up with you again on next week's Y'all Show. Matt Heermans, everybody.
This was fun. I can't wait till the next one.
All right. Well, we'll see what Democratic candidates survive next week, and we'll try to mix in a little food talk as well. Well, that will wrap up our Y'all Show today. Thank y'all very much for tuning in, and we'll be back on Wednesday with ACC Sports, as well as our Music Row insider, Precious Harris, will be on right here on the show that's all about the South. This is Y'all.